Hi, everybody. It's Deborah Carter here from Preparation Tech. Today, I'm speaking with a very talented data scientist in Amsterdam named Ruud Tevreden. Ruud is very interesting because he's taking this core set of skills and his knowledge about data science, and he's actually deploying it and using these skills in very different ways in different sectors. So welcome, Ruud. I want to start by asking you to basically explain who you are and what you do, how it relates to technology.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward to the conversation. What do I do? I do a lot of things, but my main job, my full-time job, is being the senior data scientist at G-Star. G-Star is a denim brand, and they want to become more data-driven, especially because of the pandemic now. It's harder for people to go to stores, so I am helping them figuring out patterns in people's behavior, consumer behavior, and how we can tap into that and bring our product much easier, faster to the customers. And next to that, I teach as well at a university, data science and data engineering in Utrecht. And I teach predominantly students or people who want to have a career switch and they want to be more involved or want to learn more about big data and how they can actually get a job in that sector. I'm politically active for the political party Bijeen. The current elections, currently we're in the campaign period and the elections are the 17th of March. And there I use data science as well as a tool. And finally, I volunteer here and there for projects for predominantly communities of color and using data science, how to solve the problems within these communities.
Wow, very fascinating. And one thing I really want to ask you about is your use of data science in politics, because I know that the party you referred to in the Netherlands is a party that's really fighting racism and discrimination. And this is something that's rising, it's growing, the awareness of this in the Netherlands. And I think the Black Lives Matter and the things that are going on in the US have really brought this to the fore in the Netherlands. Because, you know, we live in a society where the Dutch are very proud to say they're not racist and there's no racism, but that's not the case. So tell us a bit about your work for the party and what exactly you're doing and how are you using data to really fight this?
Yeah, so because of the pandemic, a lot of political parties, they were forced to go digital. You cannot go outside and meet with the people because, it's a health hazard. So what I'm doing is I'm using historical election data and I'm using social media data to kind of make a profile and find the people, the communities online that we need to target or that we can target in order to persuade them or, actually present them our information. So what I did, like I said, the historical, let me first start with the historical part, and then I can move forward to the social media part. So in order for us, because Bijeen is a very young party, this is the second time that we're participating in the second chamber elections. So we really wanted to know what were the areas where we were very successful the first time, and how can we find similar areas like that, and which areas shouldn't we actually go to? So I used the historical data from the last elections 4 years ago, from the Senate elections, and also from the municipal election to get a kind of an idea where the different communities that are supporters or possible are swing voters, but would lean towards us, where they live. And after finding that out, then what are their needs? So the slogan of our campaign is also "Spreek je uit bekend kleur," is speak out and show color. That's actually a Dutch phrase, but says like say it as it is. If something like racism is very clear, speak about it. But also we want to have an approach national through local. So in order for our national plan to be effective, we wanted to approach it from a local perspective. And this was the basis for this method or this approach. My analysis was the basis for that. So we're focusing on low-income communities in Amsterdam, in Rotterdam, also in The Hague, for example. And we're sending them our flyers. We're having small gatherings digitally and asking them what are their concerns and how us as a party can help them alleviate that, because it's a party for the people, by the people, and funded by people. So that's the approach that we wanted to have. So that was the basis for the historical data. The social media data was more meant to reach the people that we're not able to reach. Like I said, it's a small political party, so we don't have that much money. The funding is very slim, and we don't have that many volunteers. So in order to use the volunteers that we have, we wanted to use social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter in such an effective possible way. A lot of times, political parties use or have funding to publish ads. So that's something that we're going to do, or that's we're doing, planning to do starting February, and we have tested that already from November till now to see which slogans or which messaging works the best. And using the historical data combined with the results that we get from the test that we did from November up till now, we're able to target our people better.
Wow, interesting. And all because you understand data and how to manipulate it and put things together to draw out insights. Very interesting. How influenced are you by how movements like the Black Lives Matter and some of the political parties in the US and even England have used data? Are you actually learning from how their failures and successes?
Yes, actually I am, by reading the newspapers and talking with activists from all around the world, how they did it and how we can actually implement it in the Netherlands. The thing is that I would love to learn from other people and not just copy paste it in the Netherlands, because the Netherlands is a specific situation. So then we need to tailor-made it a little bit more so that it works within the Netherlands. So yes, I do that. And what you said, that I understand data, that is true. But I also would like to emphasize that there's a lot of creativity that you need to implement in this as well. Because if you have a big chunk of data, but you don't know how to use it, or you don't have any ideas, so that it's very difficult to use it. So you can be very, very skilled technically, but you also need to push yourself out of your own comfort zone in order to think outside of the box to use the data in a new creative way. But to come back to your question, yes, I do talk and am inspired by how Black Lives Matter did it. I'm also inspired how the political parties, especially the Democratic Party in the States, use social media and big data and data analytics to advance their campaign.
Interesting, very, very interesting. There was something else I wanted to ask you, and now it's slipping through. So let's go to the next thing, and that is, how did you get to be Ruud, the data scientist? Tell us about your childhood. Take us back. What were you like as a kid? What were your favorite subjects? What did you like to do? Did you have hobbies? Who was influencing you? How did you grow up? Where did you grow up? What were you like as a kid?
As a kid, I was very quiet. I was the nerd. I had glasses. Steve Urkel, for the people that know that show. I actually looked like him. So I was very quiet. I didn't have the voice though, so that's the only thing I didn't have. I like to read. I like math. I didn't go out that much because I felt books were my friends. I did have some friends, and my friends were similar to me. And that's about it. And the hobbies that I have, I didn't have a lot of hobbies. Well, if you can say that reading a book is a hobby, then yeah, that was a hobby. And I was also fascinated, always fascinated, still am, by commercials and by how commercials and imagery is influencing people's behavior and also people's psyche, and how you can motivate someone to do something by just showing them a certain image or using a certain kind of phrase. So I was always fascinated by that. So that was also the reason why I wanted to become a neurosurgeon, because I wanted to know what motivates people to do certain things. But when I entered undergrad, pre-med. I started doing the pre-med track, but I was at a liberal arts and science school, and you're required to take one course out of your discipline, outside of your major. And it was this course called political philosophy, and we were talking about exactly what I wanted to learn, So I was like, okay, maybe I need to make that switch. So I made that switch, and then I majored in political science, political philosophy, and international law. And after that, I did two masters. The first master in Latin American studies, focused on anthropology, sociology, post-colonial studies, gender studies, because I grew up in the States. My parents are from the Caribbean. Latin America has always been seen as the backyard of the States. So I was very intrigued and interested in how colonialism, how the fight for independence, how all these powers came to be. And I thought, well, Latin America is very close to my heart. So I thought like, okay, maybe let me study that and maybe I can get a better understanding of the history of that area. And after that, I did another master in natural resource management. And that's very focused on predicting natural disasters with algorithms. And because I'm very intrigued, I'm very pro climate and fighting against climate change. So that's the reason that I chose that master. But then I still haven't entered the data science field yet. The moment that I entered and why I entered data science is because I have a friend who did econometrics, and we were very good friends, and I was very intrigued in what he was doing. And he one time showed me what he was doing, and I was like, wow, this is exactly what I wanted to do. And that was the reason and the moment that I decided to go into data science. And the reason why I found data science very intriguing for me is because I've always been a technical nerd. I've always liked math and the technical aspect. But like I just said, I am always also interested in the social aspect as well. And data science, I was able to combine both of them in order to produce a product that people could use or could benefit people's lives. Or, for example, what I'm doing for G-Star could better the brand.
Wow. Now I'm understanding how you got to be who you are and all those different things. So hence the politics, you were always interested in what was going on in Latin America. You had this political sensibility, the data science, really interesting, Ruud, really, really interesting. Tell us about how you acquired your data science skills. Did you take a course? And what kind of classes did you have to take? And was it all coding and really analytical stuff, or was it also like creative?
Yeah, so it was a combination of both. I didn't take a course at the university because the friend that I was talking about who showed me what he was doing, he was working for an institute, and an institute, I wouldn't say actually it's an institute, it's more like it's a consultancy firm. It's a consultancy firm that helps companies become more data driven. But in the process, they also train people that they then eventually place at these companies to further the trajectory of this company to become more data driven. So after I spoke to my friend, and I told him like, hey, I find this very interesting. And he said like, okay, let's see if you really have the mindset to become a data scientist. So he gave me some problem solving exercises. I aced them, and he said that, okay, I think you are a right candidate for this boot camp that they did. So I followed the boot camp, and I loved it. And from there, the rest is history. And during the boot camp, it was a combination of hard skills and soft skills. I didn't know how to program before I started the boot camp. So they showed us how to program. They showed us the different kinds of tools that you could use, but they also showed us how do you convey your message. Because what happens a lot is that a lot of data scientists are people who are did beta studies like math, physics, all those in that direction, and they're very good with that, with like the hard skills, but they have difficulties with the soft skills because you can make a very complex algorithm, but if you don't know how to convey that algorithm to someone who's non-technical, then there's this disconnect, and that the other person doesn't know what to do next. So then all your hard work goes out the window. So I was very happy that they taught me as well what I can do, what are the techniques that I could use to actually convey the results of my analysis in such an effective way that people know how to use it and that they can ask me for more questions in the near future.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of tech, like were you using any specific software programs, programming languages, et cetera? And I'm asking to give youth and the people watching this a sense of the tools that they will have to master if they want to go into data science?
Yeah. So the basic skills, hard skills that the data scientist actually needs is you need to know how to program in SQL. And SQL is a data warehouse language. So that's standard. You need to know SQL. Another language that you could use is RStudio, RStudio or Python. During the program, we used RStudio because RStudio is much more user-friendly, and it's easier for someone who just starts using or gets into the data science discipline or domain and area. But then as I'm teaching, because I said I teach at the university as well, I've noticed that some students also like Python. So you can choose one of the two. My advice always is know both, because if you would apply to a job, some companies prefer Python, other companies prefer RStudio. So then you're more diverse. And then people will be like, oh, that's interesting. You can know both. And then you will get hired much more easier. Those are actually the hard skills and programs that I learned during the bootcamp. The other things that I learned was how to make a PowerPoint, how to use your certain graphs in order to convey the message much better. Don't put like large paraphrases on your PowerPoints, because that bores people. And always make sure that your story has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Wow, very, very concrete, practical information. Tell us more about the work that you do at G-Star, because G-Star, I love G-Star. I love G-Star jeans and everything else. And there's things like you're looking at patterns, you're looking at predictions. Tell us a bit about that kind of data science.
Yeah. So it's very recent that G-Star is trying to make the switch. They have always been data-driven, but they want to go much more in that direction. So I'm the first data scientist at the company, and my task actually is to find customers that are spend the most and have how many times the frequency of a customer. How many times do they go on the website? How many products do they buy? What kind of products do they buy? Where do they live? What's their gender? How old are they? So I'm using all these variables, all this information in order to make a prediction model. So certain projects that I'm working on is, for example, a return model. And a return model actually is that if someone goes to a store and you buy certain products, you can always return this product to the same store. In retail, you see that a lot of customers have difficulties with choosing products that actually fit them perfectly. So what happens a lot, and especially now in Corona times, you see that a lot of people go online, and as shipping is actually free, you can get it, it can be shipped to your house, you try it on and you can ship it back. It doesn't cost the consumer any money, but it costs the company a lot of money. So what you see is that customers, they see a pair of pants and they're like, I don't know what the fit is, so let me order two different kinds of sizes, and then I'll see which one actually fits better, and then I send the rest back. So for me, the return model is a way to predict what kind of customer will show this kind of behavior. So before the customer actually pays for their order, maybe we can advise this customer to say like, hey, the fit of your jeans is this based on your historical data. If it's a new customer, we can say customers who are similar to you chose this size of these jeans, maybe you should try this. So, and that's actually a way we're trying to incentivize customers to return less products. And that's the model actually, what I'm trying to do. Another thing that I'm trying to also figure out, or which I'm analyzing, is which customer has the highest lifetime value. And customer lifetime value is a term within data analytics that says that if a customer becomes customer the first time the customer becomes a customer of your brand or store or whatever, how many times does it, well, how many days does it take for the customer to put in a second purchase? And is the second purchase much more worth? Does the customer buy more expensive products than the first time? And if that is the case, then the customer is more worth it for the company. So at each company, it doesn't matter if it's retail or telecommunication, what they're trying to do is trying to make sure that you take more products, more services and products from them, so that the chances that you will cancel your subscription or not become a customer again are less. So I'm trying to identify which customers are these, which variables do they have, and maybe we can target people that look like them to increase that group.
Wow. So really, a data scientist is also a detective, right? In a
Yeah.
sense. So you need, this leads me to my next question. What is the mindset? What are the personal characteristics of successful data scientists?
The thing is that I would like to say, and I say this to my student as well, you need to love to puzzle. And you need to be able or like it to work independently. Because what happens a lot as a data scientist, not a lot of people are data scientists, and they expect a lot from you, the company, to help them figure out certain things. So of course the company will have certain questions, but they also expect for you to come with your own ideas. So you need to like that as well. And you should be able to go if there's nothing about the data set, for example, or there's no information, you should just go into it, and you should be that should actually excite you, and you should also find it very interesting to always continue to improve your skills, because data science is an evolving discipline. So you should also constantly go on the website and read books and do exercises to improve your skills. So you're constantly working at it day by day. So that's something that you really need to have. And and if you have that, then you will be a successful data scientist. And of course, the creativity. You need to be able to, or willing to, step out of your comfort zone and say like, hey, I think this is a really weird idea. I want to try to see if I can find this or make this. Let me go for it.
Awesome. So how can we get more of kids from underrepresented groups into data science? I'm talking about Black kids, kids of color, girls, kids from low income backgrounds. Do you have any ideas on how schools can engage these kids and make them aware that this is a study, training, or career opportunity, and to get them starting to acquire the skills so that they're able to enter this field?
Yeah, and maybe I'll tap a little bit into my own personal life. What I'm going to say now is that there's a stereotype that if you like math is hard, physics is hard. It's only for boys, so that's why you don't see a lot of girls. It's not for people of color, because there's like this idea that we have a lower IQ, which is not the case, right? It depends on what kind of teacher you have. It depends how you approach it. So math is around us every day. So when I was a tutor at a high school in Zuidoost, Oost Bay, I would teach the students math in the way that actually fits them. One of the examples that comes to mind is a girl. She had difficulties with math, and I said, "What is the thing that you like?" And she says she likes sneakers. So every time I would explain math or the theory behind certain mathematics, I would use the reference of sneakers. And that helped her understand math much better. So the thing that you can do is first not think that you are not able to do it. You are always able to do anything you want if you just put your mind to it, and try to find it in a way, or trying to convey it in a way that actually fits you. I don't know if that's an answer to your question,
Absolutely.
but I think that there's not a one size fits all. I think that people should just try it, and they should do it in a way that fits them.
Yes.
And if you can find a support system that can help you one way or another, to motivate you or guide you in such a way, you should always take that and do it. Go sit with your parents. Maybe your parents never had or have difficulties with math, but maybe be like, start with small exercises. One of the things that I would always advise students, but also parents, to look at is an app called brilliant.org. This is a really good app to help you develop your problem-solving skills, to become better at math. They also tutor you in a fun kind of way to become better in data science, right? So use these different tools to hone into your skills and improve them. And again, use them if you're an expert, because when are you an expert? I mean, it's a very difficult term in my opinion, but when you feel comfortable enough to give back to the community by tutoring or volunteering for projects.
Love it, love it.
I kind of dissected from your
Oh
original
no, but this
question.
is good because you answered my next question was, can you suggest any tools that parents and teachers can start using? I'd like to add one more, and this is a organization out of Stanford University called U Cubed, and they are, are you familiar with these guys?
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
trying to get data science into high school, and I do a bit of the stuff with my son, especially the understanding data and the visualization of data. And I find
Yeah.
it's a really, really good tool. So, okay, Ruud, my last question here, and this is something to do with legacy. Because it's Black History Month, I'm asking all of my interview subjects who are Black, how they want to be remembered by the Black community, how they want to be remembered in history. What do you want your legacy to be?
I would like my legacy, and I think maybe this is a cliche answer, but for me, I want my legacy to be not about me, but about the things that I did, so that all the privileges that I was able to was granted to me, that I can give back to that to our community by volunteering. For example, that's something we didn't discuss. For example, I'm volunteering now for a community or for a project in the United States, for New York. And the project is about making healthy, or making the access to healthy, full food to low income and low access communities, right? So I would love for my legacy to be that I contribute to that, instead of like, oh, this was Ruud's work, So I would love people, boys, girls who look like me, who are born like me, or are younger than I am, to have a better life or a better skill set that I was able to achieve, or create a platform for them that they can actually stand upon and further their careers. So that's the legacy that I would like to leave behind for my people.
Love it. Ruud, thank you so much for a wonderful, wonderful interview, and for the work that you do, because not only are you on the cutting edge of actually deploying data science, you're actually preparing the next generation. So thank you, and I look forward to following you and hearing more about your work, and especially the political work.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me. And if any of the students ever want to have advice, you can find me on LinkedIn. I answer pretty quickly. There aren't any stupid questions. So just hit me up and maybe we can have a chat via video, or maybe later go outside for a drink. So really use me in that sense to help you.
Great. Thank you so much.